What's up, all of you beautiful subscribers? Welcome back to the Jack Chapple Show. So there's one stock that's up 187% since February. I'm going to talk about that. We're also going to be talking about Lyft and Uber and self-driving cars, cryptocurrency, stock market winners and losers. There are some big stock market winners and losers today. But as you guys know, it's Friday, right? So today is the laid back day. We're just going to kind of go with the flow here. Let's start off with the very first thing, which is actually, I want to talk about Lyft. I want to talk about Lyft and self-driving cars because there was a pretty big announcement today. So Lyft is going to join in on the self-driving car game that's been going on for the last few years right now. So they're going to be joining the likes of, Tesla, Uber, Google, essentially every sort of car manufacturer's in on this now, but Lyft's going to join it. And here's why this is a big deal. I know what all these other companies are doing that. Uber's been doing it. Uber's had their own self-driving cars and have been testing them since 2016. So why is this such a big deal? Here's the difference. Uber is making their own self-driving cars. They acquired a company called Otto to make their own self-driving cars. So Uber will own the cars and the technology behind the cars and the app, and they have full control over everything. There's a little bit of a problem with that is that the person who built Otto, which is now owned by Uber, the self-driving car company, is that the person who built that, they worked for Google the year before, and allegedly he stole a lot of their IP, their intellectual property, so Uber is getting sued right now over the IP. So who knows what's going to happen with that. I'll keep you guys updated. But here's the difference, is that Lyft is, again, the second biggest, rider-driver app in the world. Well, the thing is that they are not going to be building their own self-driving cars. They are trying their best to incorporate third-party cars and technology into their app, which is it's a really cool idea. So companies like, they said that GM will probably have their own self-driving cars with this app, Jaguar, a bunch more that they're partnered with. And I think that this is a good idea. This is how they're actually going to catch up in this game. I thought this was a really brilliant business idea because look, if they were to start making their own self-driving cars today, it would take years, okay? It would take years for them to catch up to Uber, who is their main competitor, right? Because they do everything that Lyft does. It'd take them years to catch up to all the essential self-driving car manufacturers, Google, Tesla, and so on. And so what they're doing with this, like, okay, we get it. You guys are going to be building the cars, but you guys can use our platform. We'll pay you for it, and obviously it's going to be cheaper than paying the actual drivers. And I'm going to get to that point in a second here. But again, great business idea from Lyft. I think that, who knows, I'm not going to get too excited around this. I don't get too excited around announcements like this, but I think it is a very good business strategy instead of trying to build your own cars because you're so far behind right now. And so this is actually going to launch in Boston by the end of this year. Here's actually the really big news. They're going to start rolling this out in Boston by the end of the year. So you might be using the app and theoretically having, a driver drive the car, and you being in the back seat, but it's like semi-self-driven. There's also a bunch of laws they have to overcome here too, just with all self-driving technology, but it's something to look out for in the next few years. I mean, self-driving cars, as soon as the laws get passed in the next 2 or 3 years and more data is collected on the cars, this could be really big. Actually, what Lyft is doing, another cool thing, is that with all of these self-driving cars, they are planning for the cars to actually collect data. So whether it's through the app, through cameras, through sensors, they'll be collecting data, collecting stuff on like traffic and potholes and freaking maps and all that stuff. And they will be essentially selling that data. So that's another revenue stream for Lyft. Again, it's a really great idea. They came up with a really creative way to kind of catch up to Uber with this stuff. So I really like it. And let's see, what else did I want to talk about here, which is that, so what's going to happen to these human drivers? So the most common job in North America right now is a driver. Truck driver, taxi driver, whatever. You're some sort of driver, especially of white males. Like white males essentially dominate this entire category. I think that it was like 5 to 10 million people in the United States are drivers, which is kind of insane. So if this technology kicks in and this doesn't go just to Uber and Lyft and it goes through essentially truck drivers and delivery companies and all those kinds of companies, then what's going to happen? What's going to happen to those people? Well, here's what Lyft said. Lyft and actually a couple news articles said that a lot of those drivers, they will not be driving anymore and a lot of them will probably lose their jobs. However, some of them will be used for high-end assistance in the car, concierges, and baristas in the car, or just at certain points where the car will stop off at or whatever. So that's what's going to be happening to drivers. You're going to become baristas for a car company or taxi company essentially. So this is I don't know. I'm really interested to see what happens here. What do you guys think about this? What do you guys think of this news? Here's my actual thoughts on this. Okay, so there's still a bunch of laws that have to be passed before this will be an actual thing that will be daily. We're talking maybe 3, 4, 5 years out before that happens, maybe even 2, before one company actually has all the laws passed and is good to go. But, you know, I always think of this for self-driving cars in general, like, it'll be cool for the average person, because whatever, you can play video games while you're on your way to work, or you can go on your computer, whatever you want to do. But for people like my dad, okay, so this is something I don't talk about too much on my channel, but my dad, he's been fully paralyzed, so throughout his entire body, and his vision's, you know, terrible, and so is all of his senses, essentially. And he's been like that since I was 14 years old. He essentially hasn't really been able to move by himself, apart from, you know, maybe a wheelchair, and he can kind of get around a little bit by himself, but he needs a lot of assistance. And he has essentially been stuck in his house for a decade, and he doesn't really go outside much. And so this for him would be something really cool, where he could get into a car, even if it's a self-driving car, like, I'm not even talking about Lyft, a self-driving car like one that we either own or maybe even through Lyft, where he can get outside and you know, see the world. Because, you know, when you're essentially trapped in a body, it's tough to experience the outside world, and something like this can really contribute to that. So I'm really excited for this. Hopefully it happens in the next few years, so I can get my dad one of these cars or something like that, so we can actually get around. And that's really, really exciting for me. So anyways, enough of that sad news. Let's move on to the next thing I want to talk about, which is actually Bitcoin. So Bitcoin, I'm going to touch on this for just 2 seconds here. So Bitcoin, they've been the most volatile thing in essentially commodities in the stocks in the past 3 or 4 weeks. So they took a big dip earlier in the week, about 7 days ago, and down like whatever, 20, 30, 40% in a few days. And they rebounded, and then yesterday, the Bitcoin price went up about 10 to 15% because the community, which had been split on how best to make the cryptocurrency more manageable, they rallied behind a code upgrade known as SegWit 2x, which aims to increase the network's transaction capacity. And so, to me, I don't really care about this whatsoever, but there was actual Bitcoin parties thrown, like from New York to San Francisco, that this actually went through. So apparently there's a vote or something, and 93% of people wanted this to go through. So I guess what this means to me is there's some sort of advancement in the Bitcoin technology which will help it grow as a platform. That's what I took it as. So it'll help them scale up into the future. That made more confidence. That made the Bitcoin price go way up. Now apparently they have one more of these votes for tech coming up in mid-August. So I'll keep you posted on that, and also watch out for it too, because that can also make the Bitcoin price go way, way up. So all of you day traders out there, keep an eye on that vote coming up in August for, I think that they want to do something with blockchain. I'm not quite sure though, doubling some sort of blockchain. I was reading up on it, I just forget right now. So that's some quick Bitcoin news. I want to talk about the stock market winners and losers. We're also going to mention the stock that's gone up 187% in a few seconds here. So the first stock market winner of today is actually Capital One. So that bank, the bank they released their earnings report today. They're up 8.55%, by the way, today. So they released their earnings. They earned $1.94 per share on $6.7 billion in revenue. And the estimates were $1.90 per share earnings and $6.67 billion in revenue. So they beat earnings estimates by, what is that, like 2%, and they beat revenue estimates by, oh boy, just a few percentage points there, maybe even 1 or 2% there. So, and the stock went up 8% because of that, 8.5%. So again, it's just one of those things which it's just really strange to me. So revenue only went up $30 million. It went up $30 million, and that caused the market cap to go up 9% or 8.5%. So that's absolutely insane. But I guess it means that the company's healthy, so it could mean better earnings in the future too. So Capital One, big winner today. Cintas, I don't know too much about them. They're up 9%. Apparently they had good earnings today. Even though revenue was down from last year, they beat expected earnings today. So Cintas up 9%. They were a big winner today. Now, what is the company that has been up 187% since February, in the past 6 months or so? Plug Power Inc. And this is a stock which it's somewhere in between a penny stock and something I would tell you to invest in. I don't know where this stands, to be honest. So they're a fairly small market cap company with about $500 million in market cap. Well, as of today, they're probably about $600 million. So they went up about 10 to 15, no, they were up 15% today. And they're up 187% since February. So this is Plug Power Inc., by the way. Forget if I mentioned the name already. So why are they up so much? Well, that tends to happen when you partner with Walmart. So they partnered with Walmart earlier in the year. And again, Walmart announced that they will be investing, buying out, 55 million shares in the company. So they're buying out like 20% of the company today. And that caused the shares to go up 15%. So Walmart... What is this company? What is Plug Power Inc.? Well, they manufacture hydrogen fuel cells, which are, essentially replacements for typical batteries and electrical equipment. And Walmart's been using them, buying them and using them for their distribution centers. And they're also investing in the company. So it looks like Walmart owns a significant portion, like maybe even a third of this company right now. That caused the shares to go up 187% since February. Plus, they've had decent earnings and revenue growth. So again, this is a company whose market cap earlier in the year was about 200 million. And now it's about 600. No, it was about 250. Let's do the math on that, because they're close to 200% increase since February, right? And so you're essentially tripling your market cap. So they were at roughly $200 million market cap, and now they're closer to about 600 right now. So again, keep an eye on that. I don't know if I would ever invest in it because, I mean, the price per share is like $2 right now, or $2.87. I think I can check that right now, actually. What was the price per share here? Price per share was... It's $2.44 right now, up 15% on the day. It's too close to a penny stock for me, but this is a stock that my dad would invest in. I don't think he does own it or invest in it. I don't even know if he knows what it is, but this would be the kind of stock which my dad likes. He likes buying stocks that are somewhere there. He has a similar portfolio in terms of he likes buying a lot of safe stuff, but the stuff that he buys that is risky, he doesn't like penny stocks, but he doesn't like also stocks that are beyond $10 in value. He likes that in-between zone, and this would fit his category. I don't think it would be part of my strategy, but if you guys can totally look into this. So Plug Power Inc. Netflix is also up 2.7% today because they're riding high on their subscriber numbers and their revenue numbers and earnings numbers that came out, about a week ago on Monday or Tuesday. So Netflix up 2.7% today. They've been one of the biggest gainers in the past week. Now let's move on to the losers here quickly, and then we'll wrap up the show here. So the losers were, I don't know how to pronounce this, Helmerich and Payne, which is essentially an oil and gas drilling company. They were down 5.5% today. GE down 3% because their revenue, they announced their revenue has gone down 12% in the last quarter. So GE down 3% today. And Chipotle, we'll close it out on this. Chipotle, the stuff just keeps getting worse in terms of PR. So they're down 3% today, essentially because a video was released that there were rats in one of the stores and a customer filmed it. And so this was at a completely different store, and Chipotle just cannot have any good PR right now. Chipotle, actually, let's take a look at what's happened to their stock in the past month even. Oh boy, that is a bad downward trend here. So in the past 3 months, they're down 30%, 30.39%. And down 3% today. So again, I don't really know what to do to help Chipotle out because, again, they're going to have to, usually these giant restaurant chains, like, it's really hard for them to adapt. They're an established company. They've been around for years and years and years now. And again, like, how do you change your business strategy? How do you get back into the public favor? I'm not specialized in that, to be honest, even though I did work for a person who owned a fairly, a medium-sized restaurant chain. You got to do something. You got to do something to get the PR back on back on your side, I guess. I don't know what you guys have to do, but so anyways, Chipotle. Oh, they also announced that store that got closed down in Virginia that I talked about a week ago. They reopened it after sanitizing the entire thing, and by sanitizing, probably just scrubbing the floors and stuff. And so they're trying to rebuild this brand here, but I just don't really know. You need to just be out of the. Here's my recommendation, actually. Just do whatever you can to be out of the public eye. Don't even try to put a bunch of marketing dollars in right now, which is what they're actually trying to do. Just for a couple months, just let all of this sanitation stuff that's been coming out, the 3 or 4 big stories in the past couple months, let that just subside for a little bit, and then maybe in a couple months, launch a new marketing campaign. Maybe that's the way to go. I don't know. So anyways, I think that's going to wrap this video up. I'd like to thank you very much for watching. This is a little bit more of a casual Friday video. And yeah, just make sure to check out my stock market program. Link is in the description below. You can also check out the Wealth Accelerator program. And make sure you check out my vlog. So the vlog I uploaded, I'm going to try and do more of those. I'm starting to talk about building this e-commerce marketplace, which I'm going to launch. And I'm learning how to code right now, and it's going pretty well. It's just going to take a long time. So check that out. And yeah, thank you very much for watching. You're all very beautiful people, and I'll see you guys in the next video.